everyone, this is Cindy Create the Heart, and I'm back with hopefully a quick tutorial on how to make a simple envelope mini album. So I'm going to be making one because I have some winter pictures that I like to put in an album. So I decided to go ahead and do a really simple one because I have a lot of pictures. Anyway, I'm using the Authentique Alpine Solitude that I got from Tuesday Morning. You can use whatever collection that you want. Then I'm using envelopes for my page assembly. So you need 4 envelopes that are A2 size. And all I did to prepare these envelopes is I sealed them and then I just snipped about 1/8 of an inch on both sides. I did that for all of them. So then it creates this piece where you're going to put this piece into your spine. And then this piece is going to be a pocket. So you'll need 4 of those. Set those aside. Then you're going to need a front and back cover and chipboard. And this measures 5 by 6.5. And then a spine piece that measures 5 by 1.5. 5 by 1.5. And then I'm using Tyvek. You don't necessarily have to use this. I'm using it just because a lot of times most albums are made with cardstock to cover your chipboard. And then you put your pattern paper on top of that. It gives a little bit more stability for your spine. I'm not using that. I prefer sometimes not to. So I'm using this Tyvek. You can get this from office supply store. You also can get it from the post office. They have envelopes that are made out of this stuff. So a piece of that. And I think this measures, I don't know how much this measures. This is 4 by, I think, 4 by 6. 4 by 6. Okay. And then you'll need, let's see, we did that. Then you're going to need your spine piece, which I've already prepared this spine piece. So it was 6 3/4 by 6 3/4 by, I forget what it is, 4.5. 6 3/4 by, I'm sorry, 4 1/4. So the thing about the spine is you can use whatever spine that you want. People use Stack the Deck. I use this type of spine, which is the Hidden Hinge from Kathy Orta. This is the one that is not patented. So basically what you do is you start off scoring at 1 inch, then you score 2 1/2 inch, which makes this part right here, and then 1/4 inch that makes your gusset. Then you do another 1/2 inch, that'll make this piece, and then a gusset. So I will link to a video on how to do this because it's just too hard for me to show you guys how to do it. And I've been doing this type of spine for a long time now, like over 10 years. So I can do it in my sleep. But you'll need some sort of a spine piece that can fit your pages. Okay, so I'll link to Kathy Orta's. I'll try and find her Hidden Hinge directions. Okay, so you'll need that. All right, so to get started, I usually start with my spine piece. And so I like score tape for this part of the construction. Now you could use wet glue. I think it would work, but it's just not my bag. So, all right. So what I do is I take my Tyvek. If you're not using Tyvek, then you can go ahead and just work directly on your spine piece. But I'm going to use Tyvek, and I'm probably going to even snip that part off, but we'll see. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to put some Tyvek on here. And about, you want to leave about 1/4 inch between your chipboard and your spine. So I generally kind of eyeball it roughly because you want to be able to close your book. If you put it too closely, it will not close for you. All right, so okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and this is how I make my quick, I'm going to do it this way, how I make my quick books. Like when I do a really quick album, I'm not following a tutorial, I'm just kind of doing my own thing. This is kind of how I do it, just based, and I just change, you know, the style of pages, I change, you know, the size. Okay, so there's that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim this Tyvek off because I don't really need that. And so if you've ever like been in a construction site or you pass by a construction site and you see this, it's usually green, but wrapped around a building and it says Tyvek, it's like the same stuff, I think. It's kind of weird. But see, there you go. It's already starting to be constructed. Okay, so you got a couple options. You can do this piece, and then this piece, and then this piece. Or you can do it like this, however you want to do it. So this is kind of what I'm going to do, is I'm going to kind of decide where I want my paper to go. And you want to make sure that you have overhang because we're going to wrap it. And I have a tool that's supposed to help me wrap it, but of course I can't find it. I looked everywhere, and I bought 2 of them. I have another one, and I can't even find that one. So I don't know what I did with it. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of decide where's the spine right here. And I mean, you don't really need that much. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere, to be honest. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so I've done that part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on this side, and I'm going to take my score tape off. Somehow. Take my score tape off. And so this is the kind of album that most people should have the ingredients to make. I mean, if you have and if you don't even have chipboard, you can use lots of other things like cereal boxes, cardboard, whatever you've got lying around. You could, that's sturdy, you could use. Okay, so then we want to go ahead and make sure that you've got an even amount of overhang on both sides. Okay, so now I'm going to do this side. I want to see how fast I can put this together. Okay. Same thing. You want to make sure that you have an even amount on the top and the bottom to wrap it. Okay. Now we're going to do our chipboard. I mean, we're going to do our spine. And so for the spine piece, I'm just going to do the sides here. Okay. Take this piece off, and we're going to just place this on there, and We are almost ready to go. Okay, so kind of eyeball it. And down. And so I'll probably put some kind of trim of some kind right here and right here. Kind of bend it. Want to have it learn how to bend. Okay, so now what I do before I do anything else is I bend this. Kind of crease it and bend my paper. Now, if this was like a bigger album or an album that was going to somebody, I might wrap it with chipboard instead. But it's just for me. They're just simple pictures. I'm not worried about it. So what I'm going to do before I trim off my excess is on the bottom and the top, I'm going to go ahead and put my tape. Now, if you're going to be using glue, then, you know, you wouldn't do this step because you could use glue if you really wanted to. I don't want to. So there and there. There's already tape on the edge of the chipboard, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'll just put... Okay, so I have a tool. Don't know where it is because I suck. So I'm not going to worry about that. Instead, I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to take my ruler. And this is not an exact science, but about 1/8 of an inch. I would say about 1/8 of an inch. I want to make a cut. So I kind of just do it there. Give myself something to start with as far as cutting. There's a very cool tool, and if I should hopefully link to it, it's on Etsy, or at least tell you the name of it when I can find it. It's pretty cool. It's a mitering tool, but of course I can't find it. I have 2 of them. So sad. So dysfunctional sometimes. Okay, so then what you're going to do before we, I do this before I do the, so I'm going to actually trim a little bit off the side here because it's kind of a lot. Okay, so there's that. And then I'm going to do this other side. The tool is really cool because it does a perfect mitering. My mitering game is not very good, so it's very possible it won't match up, but I'm not going to worry about that because my kids don't care when they get a book. They see the book. They don't care. Okay, so now I'm going to put some tape up here. And I don't worry about the sides not being even or anything because that's going to get covered up. Okay, so now we've done all of that. We've prepped everything. Then we're going to take the score tape off of the top. And this one is just a part of it. And this part. And this part. Okay. Now you carefully fold it over. Okay, get that here. And so that's good. And then we're going to do the bottom. I don't know why we do it that way, but that's the way. Whoops. That didn't go very well. Get that right off there. There you go. And this piece. And now we're going to do this one. And this piece we're going to pull up and wrap. And this just saves us the step of having to cover it too, because we've already just covered it. Okay, so now we do our sides. And then we're going to do our spine. Okay. See, didn't match up totally on this side because I suck. But here's this side. Let's see how this one goes. Okay. So now we've got our spine piece, which is going to fit right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece off on the side. And then I'm going to take all of the tape that I put on this side. And lay this down. Okay. So okie dokie. All right. So lay that down, and then you're going to take your folder. You're really going to kind of press it down because this is very important piece of our, and we're going to bend, kind of help it learn to bend here. And there we go. So now we've got our book just about done. Now we just need to put these in. So I'm going to make sure they fit okay. And if we need to do a little bit of trimming. So we're going to do a little bit of trimming. So I'm going to trim the corners off of that so that this will fit in here better. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and release this one. Okay. Okay, so there's that one. That one's a little bit crooked. So my next one, I'm going to have to make sure that I do a better job at putting it in straight. And this one needs a little trim too. So all you have to do is just trim the corners, and that will help. That will help your page go in. And of course, doing it on the camera makes me feel a little bit like, you know, in a hurry because it's getting to be a pretty long video. Okay, there's that one. So I'll trim this one. Okay, and we're almost done with this video, and then you can get a look at it. And then the next video, we'll do some decorating and do our pockets. And then the last video will be a walkthrough because I'll put pictures in it to show you guys what it looks like all together. And if I did any, extras to it, give you guys some ideas for decorating. Okay, there's that one. And let me cut the corners off of this one. Okay. So in about 21 minutes, it took us to do this construction. Okay, and voila. All right, slightly crooked, but not too bad. All right, so here is what it looks like from the top. Okay, here is your front, right? And we're gonna put paper in here, and here is the beginning of your pages, very simply. Okay, and there you go. So come back for part 2, and we'll do some decorating. Thank you for watching. This is Cindy with Crayon with the Heart.